Okay, there we go. So wait, can you guys see my screen? You can, right?
Yep, I can at least.
All right. So let's before I talk about anything else, let's just quickly talk about Bitcoin, right? So I shared this short today, and honestly, I would have wanted to fill before, like on this way up. Would have been nice if it filled. However, I I still think this setup could get filled just because this would be a range deviation, right? Because we're forming a range here between these two fib levels on the chart. And if we happen to deviate above and fall back down, that would still be a valid setup. But I will update if I happen to cancel this, the limits at least. We'll see. We'll see. I just want to focus on why we're probably going lower. So, like from this exact chart, you can't really tell. I can't tell either, right? Like we bounced at this 382 fib, which I did say in my channel that there is a likelihood that we do. I just didn't want to long it because it seemed pretty risky the way price sold off into it, right? We got a 5% move off of this level, which is pretty solid. But the thing that I don't like is that we have failed to reclaim this 382, right? And this is a 382 resistance. I will explain how I use my fibs in a moment after I do the kind of the market update, okay? So these lines you see here are used as resistance, and what we did essentially is we broke the 382, we rejected the 0.5, we deviated below the 382 again, and tapped the 0.5 again and rejected hard, which sent us below the 382 again. So on the 4 hour you can see we actually SFP'd the 382, then we retested it, wicked to the 0.5 and nuked, right? So this is essentially what happened. And on the daily, this is really, it was a bearish retest in my eyes, okay? The way the fibs work that I use. So for me to consider any kind of upside, I would want to see this 382 being flipped to support. So this is like 64.68k. Because before, I mean, until this is not flipped to support, we are not going higher, in my opinion. That's just what I see from this chart, okay? And I can't see much else rather than, you know, all the other levels down here that we could hit. But, you know, I don't know for sure which one and when. But yeah, now why I am very much biased to the downside is mostly because let's look at the stock market. I don't usually use stocks a lot to kind of go like to see where Bitcoin is going, right? But even just looking at it, I know that SPX has just hit like a crazy 618, right? So honestly, I would expect SPX to absolutely die here. Like this is just the way I see it, because these levels are crazy strong, in my opinion. So we'll see. I don't really care about SPX because it doesn't even correlate to BTC from my analysis at least, but you know, just a thing to note maybe that the stocks are not doing well. Now the actual thing that does concern me about BTC is Euro USD, right? You may have or may have not seen me use this chart a lot already, but I'm gonna explain why and how I use it, because I think it can be very beneficial for like really strong reversal confluences, right? And it has been historically proven by me that it did work, or let's say it does work consistently on higher time frames, right? So I shared this chart a few weeks ago when I was on vacations. I shared this chart where I said that, you know, we were about here. It was end of July. So I guess I just got home, right? So it was end of July, and I shared this chart with this rising wedge pattern, right? I didn't really use the pattern for this, but you know, I just wanted to clarify that this looks bearish, and that I expected my other fib levels to hit. So in this case here, we tapped the 0.5 fib. You can see this one here. This is the important one in this case. We tapped this one, we bounced a bit, but we eventually broke below. And what we did was test the 618 lower, like perfect tap into the 618. We got a little bounce, but what went wrong here is that we bearishly retested this 414 fib, and this ended up just sending it lower. And when this happened, I also posted a chart in crypto chat, I believe, saying that I think this is a bearish retest and it goes lower, which it did, and it hit the 707 exactly. See here, tapped it perfectly, and yeah, now this happened today. Euro USD is up 1.3%. You know how crazy of a move this is for Euro USD in one day. Let's just look at previous price action, and can you show me such a move in one day to the upside? Because I really don't see it. I mean, yeah, we had strong moves here and everything, but man, what is that candle? Okay, this is comparable, I guess. But you get what I mean, right? It's a crazy candle, and it's just going like it completely ignored the 382, which is rare. Usually the 382 gets respected quite a bit. We've hit the 0.5 now, the resistance fibs, I mean, and we did close below, so I could see this like doing something like this, unless it closes above, right? So for now we are below this resistance in form of this 0.5 fib, and the next resistances are marked with these levels. This is a 618, 707, 786. This one here is actually a 618 and an 886 because I have multiple fibs drawn, right? And these two actually match up in the same area. So I would expect this to be a heavy resistance, right? So this is another 1% up from current market price. And apart from that, there is also more high time frame targets in form of these up here. Now you might ask, why the fuck are you looking at Euro USD if you are talking about Bitcoin, right? And the reason being is that I believe there is a really important correlation between Euro USD and crypto markets, specifically Bitcoin. And I have historically found it to be reliable, like very, very reliable. It's not like kinda reliable, it just works. It works every single time, okay? And I'm gonna explain how it works. So the first thing you need to know is that when EURUSD goes up, you can expect BTC price to follow. That's just a rule. It's how it is. If EURUSD is bullish, you can expect BTC to be bullish as well. But it's not that simple. It's not like, okay, EURUSD is going up, Bitcoin is gonna go up this same moment, right? It's not that simple. It's not that simple for a reason, I believe, and that reason is that everyone could see that if it would correlate like immediately. Instead, I personally believe like this is not something you can read somewhere else. This is something I've personally found and have been using for some time now. And it's I have no clue if anyone else found something similar or not, but you know, just saying that this is, in my opinion, valuable information that you probably won't get anywhere else. So yeah, how I personally interpret this correlation is that EURUSD is such a widely used currency, right? So Euro and US dollar are very widely used currencies, right? And why they correlate is because when EURUSD moves, that indicates a flow of money into something else, right? And in this case, it's risk-on assets, right? So this is essentially what DXY also shows you. It's when DXY is going down, you can expect risk-on assets like stocks and crypto to go up. But it's not that simple, right? I told you before, if it would correlate directly, everyone would be like profitable off of it, right? And you can see SPX is down a lot, even though DXY has nuked that, which would generally send stocks up, right? So this doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, yes and no. To most people, this doesn't make any sense, but I have found this thing that they are kind of missing, in my opinion. So, okay, let me go back to the EURUSD chart real quick. Where is it? Fuck, I have too many charts. So yeah, let's just. I think it's easiest if I just bring up the two charts I've prepared together. So let's go like this, okay? I'm gonna show you. Let me just hide a few. No. Anyway, so I'm just gonna leave this on. Doesn't really matter. So we got the two charts side by side here. Okay, this is the EURUSD chart and this is the BTC USD chart. So, how the fuck does it correlate? Well, let's mark this top, for example, on EURUSD, right? This top has happened on 17th of July. I'm gonna go on the daily time frame, sorry. It has happened on 17th of July, okay? This was the top on EURUSD. So, what can we see on Bitcoin? If you go to 17th of July, you can see this is this date here. You can kind of say it's a top, but it's not how it works. This is a coincidence that it's the top. So 17th of July would be here on BTC chart, and the correlation that exists, that I have proven works, is that when EURUSD tops, so when it forms this kind of top, you can measure from this exact date, you measure 5 days on the BTC chart, and you should get your top on BTC. So let's see what happened. 5 days later, BTC has, has moved down 7% in the next 3 days or so, 4 days. Okay? So this is the first very simple step in this correlation. Okay? So this stop here has been put in 5 days later, right around here. Right around here, okay? And you might be asking, what the fuck is this? Why did it go back up, right? And this is something that has historically happened as well, a lot of the times. So when you put in a top on Euro USD, it goes straight down. See, you don't get this move up, right? Yeah, that's because it doesn't directly correlate. But if the direction of this move is heavy down, like it was here, and like it was here, you can expect BTC price to follow. So what happens often is when you put in a top at this exact date, 5 days later, there is almost surely gonna be some kind of drop from that time, but there is a chance that this move will give a bounce which will send us up to clear the liquidity from this high. Okay, so most often this is a 1.272 deviation that occurs. Okay, and it's what often happens. It's just a way for market makers to clear liquidity and get their orders filled. Okay, and you can see here this was a perfect 1.272 deviation, which is very common. So what happened essentially is we put in a top, and since we know this Euro USD chart is in a downtrend, we can very safely say that any kind of move up over this top is gonna end up as a deviation, then it can be safely shorted. And this is something I'm gonna show you in past price action as well, but I just want you to understand why this move has happened. It was only here to clear liquidity, and it's its only purpose. Now the question is, why would they want to clear the liquidity to the upside? Well, it's clearly because they want to push the market down, right? So they can profit from it. Simple. Now you might ask, when do we bottom, right? The timing with bottoms is a little more complicated because they occur 10 days after Euro USD has bottomed, or if that date of bottoming would be on a weekend on BTC, that time will likely be delayed by another 5 days, so a total of 15 days of delay. Okay, and you might ask, what is happening during those 15 days? Well, you know what's happening? Market manipulation to the downside. It's pretty simple. Look, I'm gonna show you here. We have, let's take the 16th of April bottom. Okay, Euro USD has bottomed on 16th of April, which is roughly here. This is 16th of April, right here on the chart. See, what happened is 15 days later, no, this is the wrong one. 15 days after Euro USD bottomed, BTC bottomed exactly 15 days later. It was even at the same time that it bottomed. So let's say this bottomed, I forgot what time it is, and I'm not gonna check now, but let's say it was 2 p.m. and BTC bottomed at 2 p.m. as well. So there is a correlation, and and it is a fact, because I see it and I can find it. Like, it's very obvious to me now. But yeah, this was exactly 15 days to this bottom, and what happened is, you can see from the previous top, which was up here, we have continuously been selling off down, and as soon as this bottom was put in, we could have known that BTC is gonna bottom 15 days later, because the 10 days would have been on a weekend. I believe it would have been on a Sunday, and instead of bottoming on a Sunday, it proceeded to have another move down and then bounce, right? So it is just how it is usually. There is certain times where weekends have been bottoms, but I personally think it's very unreliable to bet on a weekend bottom. So in all the past analysis of this that I've done, I have found waiting another extra 5 days after the 10 days, if it's on a weekend, is worth it. And you might miss an opportunity or two, but it's not safe to expect a bottom on weekends. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, what happens is, when Euro USD bottoms, BTC is gonna get one last nuke before it launches up, and this has happened every single time. You see, this was the bottom on BTC bottomed on 1st of May, which is exactly 15 days after Euro USD bottomed. Okay, and in this period where Euro USD bottomed, and down to the time where BTC bottomed, it had this move down, which nobody understood. I remember everyone being so confused why this move is so violent and merciless, right? And it's because this is pure market manipulation before a bottom. And what we can use this chart for really is predicting when this manipulation will happen and when the bottoms and tops will occur, right? It's very, very useful, in my opinion. So, okay, this was 1st of May. Let's proceed to the next bottom, which was here. So Euro USD bottomed on 26th of June. This was a wick. This was the lowest point, so I just took this, right? It was the 26th of June, and if we see here on BTC, 26th of June is right here, and if we measure to the bottom, that's 9 days. But the thing is, this here, you see, is very choppy, right? So it's kind of hard to say exactly when it's gonna bottom. The most reliable way I've found to work is that you take the lowest point and you just play that as it's gonna be the safest, and it has worked every single time. You might not get the exact bottom like you did on 1st of May, but it's gonna be a safe bet, okay? So 10 days in this case equated to a Saturday. We don't like that, right? So we're gonna wait another 5 days until 11th of July, which happened to be this small move down, which instantly reversed into this impulse up, and this gave you a 20% move, okay? And you can see Euro USD pumped. But this happened on BTC 15 days later. Like, how crazy is this?
Close it.
And yeah, the top I've already explained. This was the top.
I figured it is, yeah.
I don't think you had me at all.
Yo, Algie, what's up?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. What are you going through here? Is this what you've been shown?
Yeah, I've been going through this correlation we've talked about before, right? because I've made a lot of advancements to it, and it's starting to look really nicely. At least for me, it works very well recently.
Okay.
So, wait, I'm not sure how much of it you've heard, but I'm gonna continue explaining for past price
continue,
action,
continue.
I guess. So yeah, I was gonna say why I think we get more downside here is because the time for this manipulated move has not come yet, right? And historically, whenever Euro USD has bottomed, we've had a phase of 10 or 15 days, depending on the weekends, of extreme sell-offs like this and like this, okay? And what's gonna happen here, in my opinion, is because Euro USD bottomed on 1st of August, that was yesterday, I think we have 15 days of chop and likely extreme downside on the horizon, just because 10 days it comes at a weekend, so that would not be a reliable bottom indicator. So I would expect to see 15 days of this price action, right? Like in these two examples, it was 15 days as well. So just judging by previous price action, I'm gonna show you more of this in the past. So let's just go back to October 2023. So Euro USD has bottomed on 3rd of October 2023, which is here, this. And BTC has launched 10 days after that. See, this is 10 days after Euro USD bottomed, and we saw this. Look at it. And before that happened, see, we had this sell-off of 6%, which was not very extreme, but it was a sell-off, right? So this is one. Then you have another one here. This was it back here? Yeah, 31st of May was bottom on Euro USD, which is here. If we measure 10 days, it comes at a weekend, so that will not be valid. And we go another 5 days, which is the exact bottom on BTC. And from here, it shot up 25%. And again, as explained, we got this manipulated move down of 10%, right? Like, you can see it just always sells off before these big catalysts to the upside. Here as well, this one is like a perfect example. Again, you have a bottom here on 27th of February, and you measure 10 days. 10 days is here. Wait, am I stupid? 27th of February it is, correct? That's here. Yeah. So 10 days, I place this line wrong. Okay, like this. So it bottomed here, right? I guess. Wait, was the wick? Yeah. The next day had a small wick lower, but it's not relevant really. It's like $500 lower, right? So 10 days after, BTC bottoms, and we see a 50% impulse up.
So the real question is,
Yeah.
does this actually get us to WOW's targets?
Wait, can you say it again, please?
The real question is, does this system actually get us back to WOW's targets?
Oh.
In the end, by defaults of inflow and outflow, it will go to 45k, and it will follow this at least. So the main correlations that, at least the last time we spoke about this tip, was understanding how these inflows and outflows affect the market.
Yep.
And we broke down the fact first, it's bank movement, obviously. You're first going to have your bank movement, and you have your institutions following the banks, and then you have your outflow. And so that's why you have such spaced out days. Is money's always going to be in the market. It's just about finding where it is, and you're finding where it is, and you're making correlations with that. And then we went back to saying how it can be different every month, or it can be different every other month. So that's the algorithm that it
Yep.
changes, and then you need to have awareness of where the money goes. You can be here for a very long time finding correlations like that, but with major assets, it's quite. I wouldn't say easy. I would say it's easier than any other asset, but finding the money trail, finding any correlation like that with an asset like BTC is much easier. And so, like, what you're doing here is focusing on the inflows and outflows apart from an ETF, and more so focusing on bank movement.
Yep.
And all of it is like accumulation of liquidity, moving it back into distribution. So it's basically the same model, just in depth. That is literally it. And at some point, it does slowly lead to the market going back down to 45k, and us bouncing up. That
Yep.
is it. Like that. Same correlation, same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with your statements because, yeah, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but yeah, like Walji said, essentially what we do looking at Euro USD is see the money flows in the markets, right? So if you see some kind of outflow from USD, you know that USD is going somewhere else, right? And apart from it, a part of that USD is of course gonna go into Bitcoin, right, as well, because it's a risk-on asset, like stocks and everything else, similar to that. And this is essentially why I think this works. And all these sell-offs are just to fill those orders, right? I mean, it's pretty. It's not that complicated, but it's very hard to see this. I think at first glance, like it's pretty complicated to spot that the tops generally take 5 days to happen, and the bottoms take longer, 10 to 15 days, depending on the weekends, right? So yeah,
Do you
I
know why
like
that
that
is?
point.
Do you know why that is?
The weekends.
Why it takes 5 days, and why it takes 10 to
I
15
mean,
days?
I don't exactly know, but I suspect it's because during weekends we won't bottom because institutions are not active, right?
Yeah, that's one.
Okay.
There's like three main points to that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know the other two, right?
No, you gotta figure it out.
All
You've done all this. You gotta figure it out.
right.
Let's see.
All
So
right.
if it takes longer to bottom, okay,
Okay.
is that good or bad for the assets?
I think it's generally good because we can go lower and grab more orders, right? So essentially, what you do is you can have more upside after that, right?
Yeah. And what do you think it does to the psychology if the market is in a downtrend for a longer time?
Yeah, it capitulates more people, right? So more people sell and they can buy more. It's
Yeah,
pretty logical,
exactly.
yeah.
And then is the upside normally larger than the downside?
Yeah, of course it is.
100%. And so the whole point of the initial losses is to obviously create more areas for orders and then liquidity.
Yeah.
And then buys. And then following that theory, sometimes it may take longer when things like a recession takes place or something along those lines where
Yeah,
banks are being
I wanted to
liquidated or there's a struggle.
I wanted to touch something here at the bear market low. It's something I've noticed. Okay, so the bottom that was given by Euro USD has been here, which is 28th of September, and 15 days after we made this wick down. You can see this one.
Yeah.
And from here it went up like 18%, but then the FTX crash happened, right? Which was this move down essentially, I believe. Like this move down is essentially the FTX crash, but this is before this happened.
Yeah.
So really, what I think happened here is because, like, of course they knew this was gonna be the low, right? And as you said, the more capitulation that occurs, the bigger the impulse up, right? So I suspect that having this capitulation instead of just going up from here provided much more liquidity for them to buy, so it can go higher, right? So that would make sense.
It's the same cycle, just repeat over and over. The only thing that you do need to take into consideration is news. And that's why, at least, I teach how to follow news so closely and why news is so important in this, at least, workspace. Taking larger things like this into consideration. But like, as I've said before, I'm quite impressed with what you're doing here. Keep it up, man. Genuinely. But I'm going to leave you to it now, okay?
Thanks,
if you
brother.
do have any questions,
Appreciate your input as always.
No worries, likewise. See you later on.
See you. Okay, so you just heard Walji say what he thinks about it. And it does make a lot of sense, right? You need capitulation for big institutions to buy, so people sell to them. And these sell-offs are created for that particular reason. And we can spot this that is gonna occur by looking at the Euro USD chart, just because we know that this money that is flowing out from this market, from the USD market in particular, is gonna end up here, right? At least some of it. So this is exactly why I think we're gonna have a huge sell-off, is because if you look at higher time frame on Euro USD, it's literally on the verge of a historic breakout, okay? You could, I mean, I know this trend line is fucking disgusting and everything, but you can say this is a valid retest of this breakout, even though this trend line technically isn't even valid because it only has 2 touches. But from a technical perspective, I think Euro USD is on a verge, like even inverse head and shoulders breakout, right? You can say this, right? You could say this is an inverse head and shoulders, right? So imagine if this breaks out, where is the money going from USD, right? It's going somewhere where people are going to be protected against economic crisis, and that would be risk on assets generally. It's how it works. So what we are seeing here is just money flow through the markets. Yeah, thank you, Dante. So do you say after 5 business days we might see top on BTC? No, that's not what I'm saying. What's the rate of success with this? Well, it has worked every single time that it has appeared on the chart, so I would say it is pretty successful. Okay, you said top in 5 days. No, that's not true. We are searching for a bottom here. We already had a top here. I told you all to sell when we hit 68k, right? I told you that we're gonna have a sell-off. And what is happening now, we are down like 10% from that price point where I told you guys that you should take profits. And essentially, just by seeing past price action, I'm gonna tell you right now that we're gonna absolutely nuke. And we're gonna nuke so hard that no one is gonna expect it, okay? It's because this is likely the last dip we're gonna get before Euro USD breaks out and BTC absolutely moons it, okay? It's pretty simple in my opinion in this case. And that is why we are simply not gonna bounce here, even though you have so many Fib confluences, sharks, bats, whatnot, like everything, but the fundamental part is not on your side here. We're just gonna go lower because that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be a manipulated move. And like we had this one here, look, we had this bat here, okay? It was this bat. It was so pretty. It was so nice. What happened? We nuked through it, okay? That's the wrong one. Even though it looked good, yeah, it did give a 10% bounce almost. But what happened then? We capitulated another 8% lower. So that's why I'm saying. By the time we bottom, we still have 2 fucking weeks. You know how much time that is to capitulate like this. And why I'm saying we're gonna capitulate so hard is because we have so much time left until the actual date where we roughly reverse happens, okay? It has never taken so long, or at least the longer it took, the more violent the capitulation was. So, you know, that this is the sole reason why I believe we're gonna capitulate hard, and why you should be fucking careful, like really careful, in my opinion. That's wow. Total gold. So it's Friday the 16th. Yeah, it's Friday the 16th. Generally, I would consider safe for buying. So, like, it's not like you should 100x full port max long on that date, right? No, you should absolutely buy heavy spot and add upon confirmation, right? So when you see strength, you just add. You just go full in on spot, okay? It's simple. Your invalidations will be very tight because you're gonna be in pretty much on the bottom. Even here, when I told you guys to buy, this was a 20% move. This is no joke. This is good. Like, even if you just bought spot, you would have literally done a 20% on your spot just by doing this, with virtually no risk, like very little risk. Your risk to the downside would have been like 5%. So I consider that good. Oh yeah, Grasady, enjoy your evening too. So yeah, this is the reason why we are going lower, and no one's gonna tell me we're not gonna go lower, because that's how it's gonna be. I'm not the one deciding this, okay? It's just how it will happen. It's not something to debate about. I can't change it. If I could, I would have sent BTC up right now, but I cannot do that, and we are simply gonna sell off lower. Now, the problem is I don't know how low. Now Walji said that eventually we're gonna make our way back to 45k, right? And given that we have 2 weeks of this manipulation up ahead, I would not discount that option. I will be honest. I think it's possible. 45k is only 28% down. I mean, when I say only, that's a lot, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I do think it's not impossible. I'm not gonna say we're gonna go to 45k. Didn't hear go heavy spot on BTC. Yes, but not now. Do that on the 16th and you should be profitable in a few weeks. At what level? We don't know yet, bro. It's just the rough time where I think we should be bottomed. I don't know how low, but look, I like 45k idea. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's possible. But for that to happen, we are gonna need a hell of a news, some kind of war, FUD, crazy sell-off news that's gonna send it to 45k, okay? And if this is really gonna be the bottom before we absolutely moon, I think that's a good opportunity to do it. So I really want everyone to be super careful here, especially with leveraged positions, because you know what happens if BTC drops 25%? Like, do you understand? Do you understand what happens to altcoins? What happens to ETH, for example? What is ETH gonna do? If we somehow go to 45k, ETH is gonna go, wow, ETH is gonna go, yeah, it's gonna go down here. This is my level. It's gonna go to 2k. ETH is gonna go to 2k if we capitulate like that. Because this is the next fib level I would be interested in. So, yeah, you know, you can choose to listen to what I say or you can choose not to, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. I personally know what I'm gonna do. And that is, I'm gonna sit on my hands until that date and I'm gonna absolutely buy everything when that happens. Yeah, enjoy your day, Dep. So yeah, look, I told you, no matter how good BTC might look level-wise, this is not gonna hold. Fundamentally, it will not. It is not possible for it to hold if we are gonna go up. If anything, it's good that it loses this level, because we're gonna grab more liquidity and we can have more upside potential after that. So yeah, like I wanna make sure everyone gets what I'm saying here, and if you have any questions regarding this correlation or anything, please do ask now, because I will later on continue with how I use fibs for this particular strategy to find confluence in it. Could we plan low left shorts with this strategy, or is it not consistent? Yeah, we can. This is a good point. Oh yeah, bad illusion. Have a wonderful day. Could we plan left shorts? Yes. Of course we can. That's completely possible. Look, I'm gonna show you how much drawdown generally these setups would have, okay? Because I've done backtesting on this. Well, I think I have it on one chart. Oh, let me find it. I'm gonna try to find it. Ooh, two. No. Which one? Ah, yeah, it's this. Yeah, it's this. Where is it? Bro, no, it's not this. Fuck. Wait, oh, I think it's these ones. Oh, yeah, correct. Here we go. These are the trades you could have taken using this strategy, okay? The entries you see are the entries you would get using the strategy. These are your entries. And your exits are are the next pivot. So here. So the next pivot is your exit, right? You can plan it that way. Same goes for here. You could have taken a long here with stops below here. Your exit was gonna be at this stop because this was the next pivot. So I mean, you can make stops wider. Say you have, I don't know, 3% stops. That's safe enough, right? Because you see these levels don't just, these are fucking important levels. Even if you just had 3% stops on every setup, it would have worked. Like, there would be not a single loss in all of these setups. So, see? So yeah, talking about low lev longs, I am pretty confident you could pull off 20%, I mean a 20x long on BTC using this. Seems good, yeah. I did trade a few of these moves already, like personally. I never shared it because I was still testing, but yeah, of course, welcome. But yeah, for sure you can surely take this on leverage, but you need to be careful with leverage, okay? It's just how it has to be. So yeah, these are the back tests of the positions you could have taken. So good shit, honestly, not too bad. Let's see, what can we recap? Yeah, I can recap for sure. Because yeah, I know it's a lot of data and it's pretty confusing. Okay, so let's go step by step. So Euro USD up means BTC will go up with it. Euro USD down generally means BTC is gonna go down with it, unless there is some kind of fundamental news like the ETFs that might suggest otherwise. Okay, so why I mark this area here as ETF narrative is because these ETF times were a time where the correlation was disturbed, or at least it was not completely respected, because see, Euro USD went heavy down here, but BTC just went up. Now, why did this happen is because the ETFs saw so much inflow that this was completely ignored, right? So, I mean, it was not completely ignored, but it was manipulated to a point where it didn't follow down, but it instead went up. So, like news catalysts like this one, you have to be careful with. But generally, especially in such a ranging market like we have here, this is a prime confluence for your entries. So okay, yeah, this is one thing you have to note, and it's a really important one. But other than that, we have tops. When a top occurs on Euro USD, you can expect a top to occur 5 days later on BTC. Now, what you need to be careful of is you need to take into account that, especially to the upside, this could also happen to the downside, but most often it happens only to the upside, where the high is cleared. You see here that like you had the top, but then it went over the top and nuked after that, right? This is only to grab more liquidity. So if this happens, you can safely short this without worrying too much, because you know the price action is to the downside, unless there is some kind of bullish catalyst like the ETFs, right? Here you should have been careful. But in this case, here there is absolutely no bullish catalysts on the horizon, so you can safely short the sweep of these highs, right? So again, even if you are gonna short here with, I don't know, a 3% stop, that's still safe enough, right? You would be down 3R now. And knowing that we're gonna very, very likely drop much lower, you can just hold your position and wait for the drawdown to continue, right? So yeah. At the day when the bottom should be in, you're looking at specific levels to enter, or are you entering time-based? I will explain this in a moment. Top is a shorter wait time frame than bottom. Yep, exactly. Tops occur 5 days later only, not 10 to 15 like the bottoms. It's pretty interesting. I am not. I mean, I'm not too sure why. You could view it from a psychological perspective, where bottoms are here to force people to sell to market makers, right? That's why they need to be longer, so more people capitulate. It's how Walji explained it as well, right? And he explained it very well. In terms of tops, you don't want to give people a lot of time to sell, right? You want to grab the orders and absolutely nuke it down. That's also why the moves down are usually more impulsive. It's to catch people off guard, right? It's because of the human psychology. When price is quickly going up, nobody's gonna sell. They're gonna sell on the red candles. That's why the red candles are made more scary by speeding them up, right? So that's the reason, in my opinion. So yeah, look, I will get to that in a moment, because that is why I use my fibs the way I use them, and I will explain in a moment, okay? How do they make money? By buying, liquidating the top. Okay, so what they do is they force price up, then they market sell everything, and it pushes price down, right? A lot. Like they market buy here, for example, this candle, for example, they market buy this candle to push it up. Then the retail is gonna buy to push it just a bit higher to fill their sell orders, and then they're gonna sell. Okay, does it make sense? Yeah, they're selling, of course. Yeah. Okay, so just to consolidate then. Tops will be 5 days after this one. However, you need to take into account these wicks that might occur, okay? That is also why we have fib levels that I'm going to show you later on, and why they're so useful. This bottoms are a safe buy 10 days later if it's during a week. And if it's not if that date occurs during a weekend, you should wait an additional 5 days, meaning you should wait 15 days after this one bottoms. When that happens, it's a safe spot buy. It's historically proven to be so. So nothing to argue about. It's how it is. yeah, like in this case here, by the way, you see this was the manipulation up. They sold here, it nuked down, and this is, we're looking at this move on Euro USD now. This move here is this whole move down on BTC, okay? And why these two pumps happened is exactly for that reason, to grab liquidity. Even though this is one pump here, this one, and this one is the other one. And the dates also work on these, right? After this one topped, you had 5 days to short up here, and after this one topped, you had 5 days to short up here. And you could have known that we were not gonna go higher than maybe a bit past this high, right? So you knew you could have shorted here with stops like here or something, and would have still made a good bag, right? It's just like about managing risk at this point. So whenever you see these pushes back up into this manipulation zone, when Euro USD is still downtrending and not bottomed, you can safely short all of these. This is a free short, like really safe, unless of course there is some catalyst like this one. In times like these, you should not be relying solely on this, and you should take into consideration the news. Yeah, so I think this pretty much recaps it, right? And regarding trade management, I would suggest moving stop loss to break even as soon as you get some kind of impulsive move of at least like 10%. After that occurs, you should probably move your stop loss to break even on the positions you took. And if you get wicked out and you see that the Euro USD is still trending in the right direction, you can safely re-enter and recompound your entries, right? So this way you protect yourself against some possible black swans or anything, or something like an FTX crash, which would have fucked you over here if you wouldn't have moved your stop loss, you know, because you were up 18% at this point, and if you wouldn't have moved your stop loss, you would have gotten absolutely wrecked, right? That is why you move your stop loss. This is the important part of trade management in this case. So yeah, I would personally suggest, from my experience, to either open low leverage longs at these times, or shorts at the top, or just spot. Do either spot or low leverage. There is absolutely no need for you to do high leverage, because you know you're looking for at least a 10 to 20% move minimum from these. Some will give you moves like this one. Look at this. This gave you a move of 60% before the next pivot even happened. Okay, so that is why it's not needed. If you just full port your spot, you're gonna be risking about 5% of your whole spot port for a chance to gain 60%, like in this case. Look, if you would have, I'm gonna give you an example, right? If you were gonna enter on this date that it happened, you're gonna have your stop loss maybe below this low, which is 3%. So your invalidation for this trade is 3% away, okay? And if you do spot, you're gonna lose 3% of your whole spot port. So you can technically just full port BTC spot, right? And make 60% off of it in what? In 2 months or something, right? And it's gonna be absolutely zero effort, because you know the next pivot is here, so you can take some profits off here, right? It's simple. It's very simple to trade this, but it's it's very crucial to be very patient and vigilant of what is happening to track the money in the markets, right? Okay, so does that summarize it? I think it does, right? Should be a good summary. And I think I should get to the fib part now. That is also very important, and you should totally understand that part as well. So if there are not any other questions about this particular thing, I'm just gonna get straight into the fib part because it's equally as important. Yeah, good to go? Okay. Just ping me in chat if you have any questions. I'm gonna whip out my other chart. Which one is it? Yup, it's gonna be this one. Like so. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna whip out this chart because it's simple to show you guys in this chart. So the fibs I use are not normal fibs. I don't use this anymore. I do not use a normal fib anymore. Like never. Pretty much never. I only use a normal fib to measure a deviation. This 1.272 that I mentioned sometimes occurs, right? When you have a range, 1.272 is usually a point where you would deviate from. So apart from this, I don't use normal fibs because they're useless. I mean, they are not useless, okay, but for this particular strategy, they are not particularly useful, so I don't use them. Instead, what I do is I use a trend-based fib extension, which goes like this. You have 3 points to select, so down, up, down, or alternatively up, down, up, or like high, low, high, or low, high, low. Okay, this is how you pull it. And okay, to anyone who wants to copy my fib settings, I'm gonna quickly post a screenshot of these here. Boom. There you go. If anyone wants to copy the fib settings, if you wanna test it or start using it, feel free to copy them. Some of the levels on there are manually calculated by me, so they're my own levels. It's not something you find anywhere else again. It's just how I opted to use fibs. Now, how do we determine that the date we have is actually a valid possible bottom? Okay. I have these trend-based fibs that can effectively predict every possible bull market top and bottom. Like the top and bottom is not gonna randomly occur at a random level. It's 100% gonna occur at one of these levels that I have on my charts. It's just how it is. It's not gonna occur on any other level. Where did this go? Wait. Oops. I have to fix this one. Sorry. Like so. So the tops and bottoms will not randomly occur at a random level. They're gonna occur at one of the levels I have on the chart. It is impossible for price to reverse somewhere else than a certain fib level, one of these. Okay. Oh yeah, enjoy your day. So the way you pull these is you take the bear market. The bear market low. Let's take this example, for example. Let's go to the previous cycle, right? This cycle here. let's say you bought down here somewhere and you want to know what the next cycle top could be, right? What you can do is measure a trend-based fib extension from the previous bear market low to the current cycle top and back to the low, to the next bear market low, right? And what you get is possible levels of high time frame reversals. Okay, here they are. Look, generally what I've found is that like historically, bear market and bull market tops and bottoms will not be a lower fib number than the 618, right? So it's either going to be 707, 886, or 618 or 786. See, 786, 707, 886, 681, 618 in this example. So what you can essentially do is only mark up those higher fib levels, right? You can still have others on the chart, but they might get disrespected because the price is too violent. So what happened is the 618 was the top of the bull market, right? You see it clearly reacted. Wow, look, it reacted from this single fib level down 50%, retested it and swept the liquidity, closed below and absolutely nuked down to the bear market low, which, okay, how do we get the bear market low? We go from previous bull market top to previous bear market low to the current all-time high. Okay, and what we get is possible bear market lows. So we have possible low at the 618, possible low at the 707, or possible low at the 786, or alternatively sometimes the 886. So just by knowing this, you could have known Capo is a retard and 12K was never gonna happen, because historically it never has, and it should, and until something fundamentally changes, it won't happen. It's just how it is. I am talking about market top bottoms, not temporary. See, this is the thing. I am also talking about temporary ranges. It also works there. I'm gonna show you in a moment, but it works in every possible range you can see on this chart. I'm gonna show you how, but yeah, generally you wanna look for reversals at the 618 down to the 886. Like, these levels are your levels to look at for price to reverse. It's how it is. You see, we actually did reverse at the 707, right? But clearly market makers didn't have enough liquidity, so they triggered the FTX crash, which took us down to the 786, which held nicely, and it absolutely shot up from there. Okay, it's pretty simple. I know most people can't find reliable fib levels on BTC, but I'm giving you them now because they are fucking reliable, and they are always reliable. You might be asking, why did we reject 74K or like 73.5, right? It's because this was a 0.5 fib. So this fib you see here is the possible all-time highs of this cycle, right? So the first level was 0.5, which was this one, which was tapped here. It was 72.7K. So technically you could have easily taken a short at the 0.5, right? Something like this. I don't know, like for a spot swing short or something. I mean, there is a good chance there is a big reaction at these levels, especially as it's right above the all-time high, which acts as a liquidity magnet then, right? So this was not unexpected at all. And okay, now I'm gonna tell you something interesting. If we are gonna break out from this 0.5, we will see 104k. It's simple. We are just gonna see it because we simply cannot reverse anywhere else than one of these fib levels. Unless this move up would end up doing this. This is a different story, right? If this move ends up being a deviation and closes back above, we will enter bear market likely. I'm gonna be honest with you. But until that happens, I am still confident we get a solid breakout of this 0.5, and once that happens, we're gonna see 104k. Eventually, you know, there could be pullbacks, but eventually we're gonna reach. Like, if you hold long-term spot, as soon as this breaks out, we're gonna see 104k, and you can be pretty sure about it, because historically it always has, and there is absolutely no reason for it to not do that again. Now, other possible tops are 138k, 176, and 240. However, I do think that the next top should be either of these levels, either 104 or 138k. So, mind you, this is a high time frame level, so, you know, if even if you close like 3 days above this 618 and close the weekly below, this would be a valid short. Okay, because we are looking at the weekly time frame right now. We could even go on the monthly and see like you know what I mean. The reaction might not be instant, is what I'm trying to say. So don't go on the daily and be like, oh, we've broken the 618, we're going to 140k. No, that's not how it works. You gotta wait, be patient, and see what happens. As soon as we hit this level, you should wait to see what happens. If it reacts to it, you should take profits, and a lot of profits. I mean, a high time frame 618 like this one will be super hard to break through. I'm just saying. So, you know, these are really my targets. So 104k is really the first target I will think about. The current top, the current market top. Unless this ends up being a deviation, then I will sell everything, because if that happens, we're gonna do this. But I don't think that happens, so we'll see. How are you getting the start and end of your fibs? You take the bear market. Like, you take the extremes, right? You wanna always take the biggest extremes you can get with your fibs. So, say bull market top, bear market bottom, bull market top. Here. And here you have your retracement targets, right? It's simple. You can even see the 382 reacted a lot. Like, look, even from this 382 you would have gotten a 40% move. Crazy, right? How these work. So why I use these fibs, right, is so if you see, okay, Euro USD has bottomed, are we sitting at an important high time frame level? Yes, we are. Okay, this is a valid trade now, because you know that sitting on one of these valid high time frame fib levels is gonna mean this is gonna be the pivot, because price will not reverse in the middle of nowhere. It cannot. It's not how it's programmed. So whenever you're sitting at an important level like this, Euro USD bottoms, you know you buy here. This is a clear buy. You see, sitting on the 786, having Euro USD bottom hard, this is a clear buy signal, you know. And this is exactly why I use these fibs. It's to see the actual possible price pivots that we might reach during that time. So let's go on lower time frame on Bitcoin. I want to show you something. There is multiple ways you can take these fibs. Okay, it's not only the bear market top, bull market, I mean bear market bottom, bull market top, etc. It also works on lower time frame, and you can also kind of mix the tops and bottoms, right? Because every top and bottom is technically a valid level to take your fib from, but the most significant ones are going to be the most high time frame ones and the biggest number fibs, right? So the lower it retraces, the bigger the likelihood of a reversal. So let's say Bitcoin, for example, right? Look, we have bottomed at 53.5k. Now I want to know my targets for the upside, okay? What are my targets for the upside? The biggest swing highs and lows I can see on the chart are this one, of course the all-time high, the previous high. This is a very important one, by the way. You should always also pull the fib from the previous impulse high, okay? Then you take the highest high you can get, and you can then take any low you want. You can also take, for example, this low, you can take this low. It doesn't matter. You can take any one of these and you're gonna get valid fib levels. But for the sake of being interested where we're gonna go now, I wanna have the most high time frame levels first. So I'm gonna go from this very important swing low, right? And I'm gonna pull my fib from down here to the current all-time high and to the current low. Wow, what a surprise, right? Look at this. Where did we react? We reacted exactly at the 382, right? This was our first reaction, and this was your confirmation to short Bitcoin here, because you knew exactly that Euro USD has bottomed on 17th of July, right? And if you take 5 days, see, this is 5 days. From 17th of July to 22nd of July, this is 5 days, and this is exactly where Bitcoin topped 5 days later after Euro USD. And once you see this level being hit, you can say, okay, my date is here, my level is here, I can take a short. So what you do is you're gonna take a short, right? Let's say you wait for a reaction, you take your short here. You're gonna have your stop loss somewhere above here because you need to take into account the wicks, right? And this is the reason why I have the 414 on my chart, is because 414 acts as a liquidity magnet. So if anything, price is gonna reach the 414 and then reverse. So having your stop loss a bit above the 414 is generally pretty safe for these kinds of setups. And you know, place your second bid up here. 414 should be your second bid. And you short it, right? And you short it until the next pivot. There is absolutely no need for you to take profits here because we're gonna go lower, because the next pivot is not here yet. The next pivot is 16th of August, right? So sure, you can TP if you want, but there is actually no need to. For example, you could have TP'd a bit here, right, and just added more up here. It's very straightforward. And as I was saying, see how we are going lower. We're not gonna bounce here. Don't long, like, please don't. It's not gonna work for you. It's how it's gonna be. I can't change it. But yeah, this is a play I have taken personally as well. So I am still in this on my actual trading account, on my main account. Entry roughly here. DCA was up here and we nuked. Okay. Very straightforward. I just didn't share this because I was not super confident in this yet, because the things I'm showing you now are not completely new, but some of the things I'm showing you I found pretty recently, so it's not like I've known this for a long time. I've known some of the things, but not all of them. Now, also, yeah, what I wanted to say, you remember the 8th of March top, right, on Euro USD? When Euro USD topped on the 8th of March, you had 5 days to enter your short, and you saw we are at a super high time frame, 0.5 fib, which is prime confluence. So you're gonna wait 5 days. We're gonna take a short here. Your stop loss is somewhere above to allow for liquidity grabs, right? I don't know, maybe 75, 76k or something. And you just swing it. You don't need to do much. Like, look, this price level hasn't been visited ever since here. And you knew this was a liquidity grab because the Euro USD was still going down, right? So, you know, you can easily catch like a big, very safe swing this way. It's super simple. So when you look, if you're still here, look, are you here? Yes, he is. When you were asking if what specific levels I'm looking at, right? Yes, the date is the most important thing. The second most important thing is that we are sitting on one of these important fib levels that you can get by drawing my fib. It's that simple. It works perfectly in correlation. Like, if you use both of these, you're gonna be wrong so rarely, it's actually crazy. So yeah. Now I'm gonna remove this fib. No, I'm not actually, because I need to show you something else. That there is, I told you there is not only one way to pull this fib, right? So we can also, instead of going from this low from January, we can go from this low, which is also an important swing low because it was a huge impulse up, right? We go from here to this high, to the all-time high, and back down to the low. And we color it in a different way. Okay, let's, no. I don't know, let's just take this one, it's fine. We take this one. Why is it the same color? My bad. Okay, like this. We take this one, and what do we see? Oh my. You see this 707 fib? It perfectly aligns with the 414, right? So this is a giga confluence for you. This is like, it can't get better than this, right? Because you are reacting from this 382, right? And above you have a 707 and a 414 for a possible liquidity grab, and you know Euro USD is gonna nuke, or it has already nuked, right? So you know it's gonna happen. And as I told you before, like, you short here, you have your invalidation above this 707 because this should never get breached, right? It should not close above the 707 generally. At least not many candles, right? It should lose it. And the 707, as I said, like the 414, it acts as a liquidity magnet as well. So 707 and 414 will always be marked with a white line on my chart, and that's because they're a liquidity grab target. So anytime you're entering a setup, you have to take into considerations those numbers for possible liquidity grabs. And you know, you'll be up probably, look, if you had a DCA down here, your average would probably be roughly here, because your DCA is always bigger, right? And you would simply be down 5 RR on a 10% move. Isn't that good? Like, I personally think that's pretty good. And you know almost for a fact that this is gonna work, because you're following the money flow in the markets. Like, there is not much else to it, right? It's hard to get something better than this. Got it. Yeah. Fuck. Not the game center. Come on. Fuck. Yeah, my recent short was not based exactly on this. It was based on fib levels, and it got front ran, so we likely don't get a fill because we're gonna probably break down here. So yeah, I wanted, I mean, I didn't want it, but it was possible for us to come up here because there were some important fib levels up here, and we haven't done that yet, and I don't think we will either. So I will probably cancel that play because it got front ran. I will actually go on my fib chart. Look at how these fib levels work. 382 is here. I told you all this is a possible bounce point, but it's not gonna hold. I clarified that it's not gonna be long before we break down. And for the resistance, we got the 0.5 here, which acted as a resistance, and we haven't been able to break through. I wanted to originally short the 618 and the 707, but we didn't get it, so that's why I'll probably cancel the play. But you know, as soon as we break this low, I'm gonna cancel the play. If we don't break the low, it's essentially still valid, but we'll see. I will update for sure. But yeah, regarding the targets I have here, look, here are your fib levels. One of these levels is going to be a bottom, unless we nuke to the 40s. Then your bottom is going to be lower. But as of now, if we don't nuke back lower, one of the levels you have here is going to be a bottom. Like, I can tell you almost for a fact that one of these levels is going to be a bottom. It's just a matter of waiting to see the correct time, right? So the time has to match the price. You know what I mean? You have to sit on an important level and match the time as well for that level to be validated as a valid reversal point. So we're gonna, come on Game Center, we're gonna wait for that, and until then, yeah, we are gonna nuke lower. It's simple. It's as simple as that. Altcoins are gonna die unless this somehow rejects. BTC dominance has reclaimed. Has flipped this huge range to support. So I think this goes higher. I think, as I told you before, I think this capitulation is gonna be super painful for altcoins as well. So yeah. Okay, now I think it's best if I show you how exactly I take my fib levels. So I'm all in on BTC spot. Let's nuke it. Yeah, but you should wait for 16th of August and you should do just fine. At least historically speaking, you should. This Euro BTC. Yes, it does. It does work. However, it's less reliable. It's less reliable and it's sometimes very hard to see and predict. So I have this chart here, which kind of tries to see the movements through the days, but it's sometimes hard to read. So I sometimes try to take scalps or at least have this as a confluence, but generally I would not suggest going lower than the major pivots on the chart, because only the major pivots will be highly respected. So yeah, kind of something like that. Okay, can you guys, come on guys, give me, what's a major pivot? A major pivot is what I call a price and time where there is likely to be a huge reversal, right? So pivot meaning, in a way, okay, there's the chart. Pivots are these lines. Okay, no, not these ones. These are the wrong ones. Here, pivots. There you go. Pivots are these black lines you see on my chart, and they're just essentially Euro USD reversal points, but transferred to BTC, right? It's just major reversal points on the chart. So yeah, these are the ones, and here, like in the past. So yeah, the next one is August 16th. Until then, don't fucking long is what I'm gonna say. Yeah, welcome. Now please give me a coin of your choice to analyze, so I can show you how exactly I take all of my fib levels, and preferably just give me some kind of like higher market cap coin, because it's easier to do so. Okay. Yeah, can we do something higher market cap, something like DOT, Solana, etc., because it's easier to show you on those. Okay, Solana. That's good with me. I could also do whiff and render in a minute, but I will take Solana because it's easiest to see on this chart. USD. I'm gonna go on the crypto chart. Okay, there we go. This is the whole history of Solana price action. You can see I use the Solana USD ticker, and I use the crypto chart because this chart always has the most data, because it's the whole history of price action. Okay, so now we need to identify how it reacts to fib levels first. So we're gonna start at the actual start in 2020. We're gonna go let's see how it respects the levels. So we're gonna go from the bottom to the top and to the bottom, like this. Okay, like so. Okay, so let's go on the daily. Let's see. Okay, so since we pull this way, 382 gave 40% pullback. I mean, okay. 0.5 was a bit sketchy, but it still held and it gave a 40% pullback. 707 was kind of breached, but this is because Solana was very low market cap at that point. So, these shit coins at the start are sometimes hard to predict, and will usually blow through all these fib levels, and you should use higher fib levels if you want to see what's happening. However, you can still see it held the 707 and it still dropped 25%. So it does respect levels. You can see from the start it does. Now we know that it does respect levels, right? So what we want now is find our current resistances, or potentially we could also try and see how, yeah, okay, I'm gonna keep it simple. Let's try to find resistances. Okay, so how do you find a resistance on this kind of chart? You need to pull your fib from a low to a top and back down to a low, right? So what we do is find a low and take the low that strikes your eye. Okay, just take the one that's the most obvious, and for me this is this one. Okay, we take it from the low to the high and to the low. Okay, there we go. This is one. However, in this case I think we could pull it down. This is also possible. Yeah, I think this is like pulling a fib has many ways to it. You can take any low. So on this chart you have three lows you can take the fib from. One is the actual launch price, then this low and this low. These are the three main lows you want to take your fib from. So first we took this one, the big one. It's the biggest one. Okay, we're gonna mark this and let's see how it did. So let's go on the daily. This 236 gave a 10% bounce. The 382 gave a 34% pullback. The 414 was not a liquidity target in this case, or at least it kind of was, but I mean, yeah, it fell 8%, so it's fair to say it was a reaction. Now, essentially, from this fib that we have here, the next important levels would be here and here, and I'm not even gonna go lower because I don't think that gets reached anytime soon. So, you know, just mark these levels and say this is text 0.5. You mark it this way. Here you take the next one, type 618. This is a 618, and the others I'm not even interested right now because 1200 is pretty far, in my opinion at least. Okay, so now we have this big high time frame fib. Okay, I might as well just mark this one as well because it was very well respected, as it gave a 34% bounce. So we have 382. There we go. And like so. Okay. Like this. Now we have this high time frame fib. Then we're gonna go ahead back on the weekly and we're gonna take this one and we're gonna go top, bottom, bottom, top, bottom. We're gonna color it, I don't know, in a different way. I have 8 different colors because I need them because otherwise I get lost. So immediately we have this 382 here. So now I'm just showing you how I take every chart and pull all the fibs on it. 382. 414 again, see 414 was a reaction of 18%. So I might as well actually mark these as well because they're pretty important. 414. And you see I mark it in white because I know this is a liquidity grab target. Okay, and then we had this 414 as well. 15. Okay, like so. 414. Oh, by the way, we've just tapped this exact 414 right now on Solana. Interesting. So random, but okay. I just want to show you how I mark my important levels, right? So, how would you guys say that this fib is getting respected compared to the bigger one? Is it getting more respected or less respected? How come about? Yeah, it's because I use the trend-based fib extension. You use 3 points to take it, right? You go bottom, top, bottom, and it goes like if the top is way up, right, it's gonna go above the top. That's why these are so good, because you can also tell like higher targets, not just reversals. And yeah, welcome. So what would you say? Is this one that I just drew getting respected more or less than the big one that I pulled the first? From the levels you see on the chart. Let's see the answers. Here's the chart, and well, I'm just gonna go to the toilet and you guys answer it, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Might need. Oh, yeah, less. Yeah, I would say that is correct, because the higher, I mean, the longer the fib pull, the more it will get respected generally. So, you know what I would do in this case? In this case, I will leave this fib I just drew on the chart, but I don't want to have too many levels, So, I could also mark all of these. Oh, by the way, notice this. Notice how they sometimes align together. So you have a 786 from this smaller one and a 618 from the bigger one, like in a $20 range. So I'm gonna tell you right now, if Solana ever hits 620 to 650, it's gonna die from there. It's just programmed to be that way. So I mean, that level is not getting broken through anytime soon, in my opinion. But yeah, okay. Let's get back to the point. I could mark all of the other levels, but I will just skip that for now because they are usually not as relevant, right? So let's go to the third pull then. I'm gonna pull from this low to this high and back here. So now you see you don't actually get the targets for the upside, because this one is like the bottom you took is too high, right? So you're actually not gonna get targets for the upside. However, you get some levels that, let's see, do they get respected at all? Okay, so 382 was completely ignored. Okay, actually see here, the 0.5 and the 236 from the other fib align in the same place, and what happened here is Solana nuked 40% from these two levels. So essentially the ones that align in the same area are likely to be the strongest. That's just something you can take into consideration. Now I can't really say that this one is getting much respect, so I would quite honestly just remove this one because it's just distracting me. And now that I got the high time frame levels, I might as well just mark this one as well now, because you know we don't really have too many levels. So let's mark it and see what we get later on lower time frame. So we have 618 black, right? We have 707. This should be white. Okay. 707. Correct. Now I'm gonna also mark this one because if it ever gets up here, it's actually gonna die probably. So keep your eye out for this. I guess if it ever reaches higher than that, I don't think it's even viable to look right now. So this is a 786 and it should be black. There we go. So 618 plus 786 deadly combo up here. We don't go past that, in my opinion. So anyone who tells you 1200 Solana, tell him that he's gonna lose his mind at 620. Also, you can see the current all-time high also has a 618 and 0.5, which is gonna be pretty tough to break. So keep that in mind. That's a good question. Okay, so yeah, let's go on the lower time frame. Now on Solana, I'm gonna show you how I do it, right? So essentially you wanna use as high time frame fibs as possible, but at the same time keeping them like in the range of the normal, right? You know what I mean? Saying this because you don't wanna scalp on a fib of this magnitude, right? But at the same time, you don't want your fib to be like something like this, because this small of a fib is not gonna work well, right? So you wanna take clear highs and lows on like 1 day and 4 hour time frames, for example. And let's see, okay. So now that we got the higher time frame levels, we wanna make them more accurate by using the low time frame levels, right? So let's see, what can we do? So let's say we are up here on Solana right now and we are waiting for some kind of retracement, but we don't know where it's gonna go. What we can do is we can take this fib, for example. This one doesn't actually give you much, so I'm not gonna do that. So in this case, when we were up here, it was pretty hard to do it the way I showed you, because essentially this high and this low are not far enough apart for you to have a big enough fib. So in this case, I would have just waited probably, right? I just waited for something to happen. And I would rather than like looking for a long here, I would wait for something to happen and I would then look for possible shorts, right? See here. Let's go another different one. Now this is ugly. 5. Okay, sure, let's use this one. So now what I did, I pulled it from this low, because it's a clear swing low, to this high and back to this low. And now we get levels again. Let's see how the levels did. Okay. Let's see, 414 had a 5% reaction. And as soon as this 382 was lost, the 414 gave another rejection, which sent it down 30%. Okay, so 382 did work. However, it tried grabbing the 0.5 here, but it failed to do so. So this is something that happens sometimes, where it will reverse from before hitting a level, but I will tell you with pretty much certainty that it's gonna visit this level again and tap it, like make an SFP and die, because I told you that big reversals will never happen somewhere where there is no major level, right? And where we are right now on Solana, this was a perfect 0.5 tap, and it absolutely nuked. It went down 20% in a few days from this 0.5. So you can kind of expect the same from one of the levels above, right? You can see you kind of get some alignment with this 618 and this 786 potentially. So, 240 to 280 is a heavy sell for me, because this is going to be a big resistance area. Okay, now that we got the rejection from the 0.5, right, you want to look for a retracement. Where is it going to end up, right? What you can do is you take the high, you go to the low, and back up to the high. And you color it in a different way. And now you got levels again. Let's see. Let's see what happened. Okay, so we are currently reacting to this 414, right? Now let's go on lower time frame. It reacted to the 382 a bit, but because BTC is going down, it went down to the 414, which is currently closing above for now. But as I said, if BTC goes lower, this is gonna get disrespected and we're gonna see lower levels. It's pretty simple. So, now that you have this, you can, I'm not gonna do it right now, but you can simply mark all the levels, right? You can mark, where is it? You can mark this 0.5, you can mark this 618, and you can mark this 707. Like, you can mark all the levels, and when the time is right, one of these levels should be hit and the price will reverse from there. There is no real point of catching a knife. You just wait for time and price to be good and you buy or sell. If it breaks a tough level, does that mean it switches to a strong resistance? You mean, yeah, like if, like for example here, you had this huge macro 382, right? That it reacted to and bounced like, what was that, 30% or what? 36%. It went down 34%, so that this tells you this level is very strong. However, this level was breached, right? And now this level is crazy strong support because it was crazy strong resistance before. So it goes hand in hand, right? The level is still there, but the more accurate level will be on the current trend. So if you take the level on the current trend, it's going to be more accurate than if you use a level from the past. However, that level will still get respected. Now, another thing I wanted to show you is how you can find macro retracements, right? You go from the high to the low and to the high again, and you get another fib. What a surprise. Another one, 6. Which one do we have? Yeah, we don't have this one. So, like so. What do we have here? We have a 416 here acting as support. Okay, so this is a 146. 146. So 126.21 is a level Solana absolutely must not lose. If, I'm gonna tell you right now, if this level was gonna be lost, Solana would go down to $92 eventually. It's just how it would be, because this would be the next logical fib level to bounce from, right? So I'm gonna mark this as 236. Do you see how the level gets respected? It never closed below, right? It gave a bounce every single time. And even if you went like, let's say you wanted to take a long once this high was created, you could have had these levels on your chart in advance, and you would have seen that this level down here at 126 aligns well with the 707 you took from this move, right? So this move is a current trend move, and you look for an entry in these areas, right? So technically we would have had an entry here at the 707. Like potentially your stop loss can be, below here, because as soon as this gets broken, the macro 146 will be broken as well, which would invalidate your idea of more upside on Solana, and you would more so look for 92 than anything else. And you target the 0.5 because it has to be tapped, and that's a 10-hour trade. Wait, is BTC nuking? Why is Solana dying? Oh boy, BTC. Wow. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? We're going lower. Okay, 382 was disrespected. Now let's observe the reaction at the 382 plus 414 and 1272. This level here could bounce. However, I told you, like, given the circumstances, it's not gonna hold for a long time, even if it bounces. So yeah, Sol USD. Let's go back to Solana. Fuck this BTC chart. So yeah, are there any questions about how I draw these levels? Because now, like, you can see, right, these levels are very critical if you take them in the right way. You just have to recognize the correct levels. They're super powerful, is what I'm trying to say. On BTC as well. I will show you something. Give me a moment. Okay, so the reason why I took the long, I tried taking a long at 65k was because 65k was a macro 236, right? However, that macro 236 was disrespected. It was flipped to resistance, and as soon as that happened, I told you we're gonna see 62.5k, which is the next macro level in form of this 382, right? And what happened? We tapped the 382, and I knew we were gonna do it as soon as we broke this level. This was a level to hold if we were gonna go higher from there on BTC. So yeah, that's the reason. Would any? Okay. So you're talking about Solana. You're telling me, right? Okay. Okay. Which one do you mean now? Tell me. Tell me what you want me to explain again. The four bottoms aligned. Yeah, like, you know, you can take every one of these and you're gonna get levels again for potential resistance, but mind you, they're gonna be more lower time frames. So the more high time frame levels you can get, the better, and the bigger the moves, the better as well. So it's about aligning the levels together and then waiting for a correct time to enter the trade. You shouldn't really enter just based on a fib. It has to also align with BTC potentially reversing, right? Or let's say reversing, because you generally know it's gonna reverse because of Euro USD. The most important levels where you want to see a reaction are the ones where the most, yeah, exactly, where the most fibs align is generally the strongest level, right? And this one down here is clearly a very confluent level, because this is I told you, 146, a macro 146. It was a local 707 from this range. You also have the 382 and the 786 of this range down here. So all in all, this level was very, very strong, and still is very, very strong on Solana. So, you know, that's how you can kind of identify the strongest areas. And you're gonna notice that these areas tend to get hit whenever whenever the time is right to enter. So it's not gonna be randomly hit sometime in, I don't know when, you know. It's gonna be hit exactly when BTC is ready to reverse, or at least, yeah, with the big picture of the market in mind. Exactly, yeah. You should be waiting for the pivot to happen, right? Really, is what you want to do. Because in this case, this was on 29th of July that Solana had tapped this 0.5 level, and why you could have shorted this is because you would have known that BTC is gonna make a top or has already made a top, right? Because of Euro USD. So you could have taken this short on Solana, right? I don't know, stop loss maybe above this high, because if this 0.5 generally shouldn't be broken, right? If this is the pivot you're looking at. And I don't know, you just kind of target range lows, I guess, right? I mean, you can target mid-range, we're here now. So you could have taken your TP here and just leave some for lower. I don't know, maybe BTC breaks down completely and you get the macro 236, which is 50% down from entry, you know. You never know how low it will go, but you can take the trade based on the pivot you got on BTC, right? So, this was a long stream. So look, if anyone has any more questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, I will be calling it a day here, because it's getting pretty late. Also, I was charting ETH the other day, and I saw like all the fib levels it has been hitting every time, right? This top was a 382, this cycle top was a 707, the cycle bottom was a 618, etc. Like, there are clearly very important levels on this chart as well. And the next important level is down here, it's about 2,700. And also based on the current current trend fibs, I think ETH is gonna sweep the lows, deviate from the range and go back up. Yeah. Yeah, welcome guys. I'm glad some of you stuck to the end. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can confirm that I am pretty sure there is likely nobody who could teach you this, because this is something I've found personally, so it's not something I've learned from someone else, so you know. You'll make us rich. I'll make us rich, yeah, of course. Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording.